Hi, and welcome to another episode of Tech of the Century. I'm your host, Ben, and this is the first episode in my new house. And it's still a complete fucking disaster here. There's a lot of reasons that it's still a disaster, and in the springtime I'm going to be putting an addition onto this house so I can actually have a proper workspace. But for now I'm in this little tiny room here with a whole bunch of my crap jammed in here, and you don't even want to see what's on the other side of the camera here. But this is an episode that I've been wanting to make for a long time, like for quite some time now. And I wanted to wait until I moved, I wanted to wait until summer was over, and I wanted to wait until I had a little bit of time to do it. And finally that time has come, and I'm very excited to tackle this. So what are we going to be tackling? We're going to be tackling this. It's an Altair 8800. The Altair 8800 was, here, let's get that in the shot. The Altair 8800 was the first successful home computer ever put out, and it was, there were, a few thousand of them made, maybe tens of thousands, somewhere around there. And yeah, it was released in 1975, came out in 75, and a lot of people who were electronic hobbyists and things like that bought one of these things because you just couldn't buy a computer. You couldn't go into Walmart or Best Buy and say, I want a computer, and walk home with this thing. You had, if you did not live in Albuquerque, I believe it was Albuquerque that MITS was located. If you didn't live in Albuquerque, you had to mail order this thing, and you bought it as a kit and you had to throw it together yourself. The way that you operated this computer is you have all these tiny switches on the front, and you enter your code in octal. Octal is basically, it's sort of a form of binary, and maybe we'll go over how to read binary in octal. I had to learn in my old job on how to do that. And you read back what was on each address with all the lights on the front. Now the Altair 8800 was very expandable as well. It had something called the S100 bus, which, then many cards were made for the S100 bus. You could add in more RAM, you could add in a floppy disk controller and RS-232 port and things like that. And many people did that, although my Altair 8800 here is very, very much bare inside. It is an original Altair 8800. So the serial number on the back is 223259K. So that means it's the 3259th computer that was made, and the K means it came in a kit form. So let me tell you my previous interest in the Altair 8800. My previous interest in this computer was absolutely nothing. I had absolutely no interest in this machine whatsoever. I've seen pictures of it. I saw pictures of it back when I was about 11 years old, when I first started getting interested in computers, and I had a TRS-80 Model 1. And I bought a computer book that showed a whole bunch of the early computers, including the TRS-80. And it showed an Altair 8800B model, not this version. And I looked at it, I was like, well, what the fuck do you do with this thing? It's all switches and lights on the front. What the hell can you do with this thing? I don't want anything like that. It's got no floppy drive, it's got no screen, it's got no keyboard. What the fuck are you gonna do with this thing? So I've kind of written off the Altair 8800 as, as a computer I was never gonna get in my collection. I saw it as just unobtainable. I mean, you look at eBay, and you can see how much these things sell for. I mean, they sell like in the thousands of dollars. I figured, I'm never going to get a fucking Altair 8800. I never even contemplated it. Then one Sunday evening, I figured I'd look on Kijiji and see what kind of computers are up there. And, people post computers on Kijiji for sale all the time. And I've bought a few of them off of there, and some people want too much damn money for them. So I just went and browsed, and all of a sudden, this thing came up. They wanted $500 for it. So I contacted the guy. Yeah, can I come look at it? He says, oh yeah, you can come look at it, but it's probably going to go pretty quickly because I got a lot of interest in it. So I said, okay, well, I'll come down in an hour. And I went to the bank. I got I think $400. That's all it would let me take out, and I had like 80 on me, and I borrowed 20 from my girlfriend. Went down, and he pulled this out of it's a box for a Denon receiver. It's actually sitting right here. And when I opened this thing up and pulled it out, I was absolutely shaking. I was just quivering. I'm like, oh my god, this is like the holy grail of like home computers. And I was like, do you mind if I take it apart? He's like, yeah, go ahead. And, you know, I asked if it worked. He said it was not working at that particular time. And when I pulled it apart, I saw a few things that were going on that told me it didn't work. So yeah, it's not a clone. It's a 100% authentic Altair 8800 in Canada, which doesn't happen either. I've never seen... I've looked online seeing if anybody else in Canada had one, and I haven't found anybody. I went and registered this thing on the Altair database, and I'm the only one from Canada who has one, according to the database anyway. So that's the story of how I got this Altair and how I got interested in it, and I haven't plugged it in, I haven't powered it up, because it desperately needs a few things done to it before I even attempt to plug this thing into the fucking wall. The guy who sold this thing to me also gave me, the assembly manual, so I got direction, I got schematics in here, I got the assembly manual, how to use the damn thing. I think no, I don't think there is a manual in here on how to use it. I just have the assembly manual. I'm guessing he didn't get one. But the guy, his uncle was the original owner, and I think his uncle put together all the documentation. There's power supply wiring diagram. Like, I think he printed out all the power supply stuff here because this thing apparently isn't working. But I saw why it's not working. He also supplied a CD-ROM of Altair 8800, main board schematics, and operator's manuals. So that was very nice of him to include all this documentation in here, just in case I needed it. There's lots of stuff online about this computer too, so... Anyways, let's crack it open, and we'll see what we can do to repair it. The other problem I noticed with this computer, almost immediately when I opened it up, was this. And there is a wire not connected. And that was the first thing I noticed about this thing. The wire is sitting over here. They're doing absolutely nothing. And because it's right on the edge, I'm guessing that it's part of what delivers power to the board. And we could probably look at the schematic and verify that. So how about we do that? Well, I didn't find a schematic, but I found this. It says, referring to the drawing of the opposite page, connect the connector plug from the display control board to the wafer connector. And they call that thing there the wafer connector. So it goes to the display, so I'm guessing that that's part of the power that goes to the display. So yeah, we're gonna wire that back up, and we're going to, well, I think first we're gonna replace the capacitors. Well, unfortunately, I think I found another problem with this Altair 8800. I have found another broken wire that I have no clue where it goes. So I'm gonna have a hell of a fun time trying to figure out where that one goes. I don't think it goes up over here because it's too fucking short. It probably goes to the board down here, and oh man, you know what, the biggest thing I hate about this computer is I use like solid core wire instead of like multi-strand wire. And yeah, now I have, and this stuff breaks really easily if you move it around too much. So that's probably what's happened here. Oh, shit. Okay, well, I think we're going to start with the easy part first, which will be doing the power supply. So let's go do that. So if there's one thing I've learned in the past few minutes, is that this thing is a pain in the ass to work on. Because you gotta take the whole, blue part of the case off in order to get at all the screws that are holding in the power supply board here, and pretty much everything else. So you end up with the entire shell of the computer. I had to pull this thing off, although I don't think it was all that necessary now, this transformer. So it's just kind of dangling there, and hopefully none of the wires break. So now, oh man, what have I gotten into? I should be able to replace all these beautiful capacitors here after I take the screw off. And yeah, we'll get some close-up shots of that yet. Oh. So we want to replace them one value at a time, so we don't screw anything up here. We have what is this? 3,300 microfarads, 15 volts. Now, some people, when they restore things, they want to get like the exact same type of capacitors. I mean, I could have bought all this style, but I didn't. I would prefer to have something a little bit more modern in here to make it function. Although I did make sure I got axial capacitors, which are the type with the wires coming out of each end here, just like that. Those are axial capacitors. A lot of radials, they'll have the two sticking out from one end, but I wanted the axials because that's how this board is designed. They should fit in there very nicely. These are, and the values don't have to be spot on for the voltage. You have to have the right microfarads, but you can have different voltages here. Like these are 3,300 microfarads, 16 volts, so we're 1 volt higher. Big fucking deal. You can use them. Okay, so first step is we have to remove all these 330 microfarad capacitors. I need wire cutters, and how you remove old capacitors is you just snip them and unsolder them. I'm going to cut them from this end though. And you just snip them. The board marks where the positive and the negative are, so that's not a bad thing. These are very large. Compared to the ones I bought, they're extremely large. And there we go. Now, we have them all snipped. We have to unsolder them. I kind of tied the board up here with a twist tie so I wouldn't be flexing it too much. I'm kind of afraid of flexing it a lot in case I break more wires. I took pictures of this thing in case I do bust one. Maybe I can figure out where it goes from the pictures. And now the desoldering process, which is always the fun part. I couldn't find my solder sucker because, like I said, I just moved not that long ago and it's packed somewhere and I don't know where the fuck it is, so we're just gonna have to make do with what we got. Okay, you just solder that, pull it out, goodbye. There's the last one. Pulling the other end off is super easy. You just heat up one side and rip it out. One capacitor out. Six capacitors out. We got them all out. Yeah. Okay, good. Now the problem I got is I need those holes clear. So I just gotta take the soldering iron and try to clear them a little bit. Now we have new capacitors. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I ordered like 10, I think. Yeah, looks like it. Let's take a look at these things. Now it shows you where the negative is. The only one shows you where the positive is. This shows you where the negative is. These nice and straightforward to install. Look at that shit. That's nice. Nice and easy. Look at that. Isn't that great? That makes me happy. And a lot of times when I'm soldering components in, I'll just tack them in and then do a good job afterwards. Looks like I sort of accidentally unsoldered this wire here. So we're going to put a little bit more on there. I don't even know if that wire's still connected. It doesn't look very happy in there. Let's give it a little tug and see. Nope! Fuck! Oh my god. This wire is shit! Oh my god. Okay. We're going to fix that wire. What we're gonna do, that's J5, in case I need a reference. J5, we have all kinds of little leads here from the capacitors. I'm ripping that fucking wire out, and we're gonna replace it with just a piece of lead, because it's not a very long wire, it's very short. And it should be fine just having a lead there, because there's nothing else that's gonna short on it. I'm not too concerned about that. Whoever cut this wire did a very bad job of that. There we go. I mean, I think that it may have been, that wire may have been bad to begin with. So, alright. So, you got a little, nice little U-shaped piece of lead here that I'm going to shove in there, and because my guesstimate was awesome, it fits in there perfect. Well, the thing is, I used to do this shit for a living, so I still got that touch. And you know what? That is much better than the original one, and it's perfect. If anything, it might improve things. Now we just snip all the leads off. Okay, good. You got those replaced. Yeah, we're most of the way there. Next is the blue one, which is 2200 microfarads, 25 volts. So what did I get to replace that one with? 2200 microfarads, 25 volts. And yeah, these ones are a hell of a lot smaller than the old one too. My, how times have changed. But it'll do the exact same thing. Okay, same procedure. You just snip one side here, pull the lead out, and then pull the capacitor out. All you gotta do is kind of line it up, eyeball the holes, and bend it at the holes. Right there. There's one there. Line it up again, and bend it right there. And voila. You have a formed capacitor. Ooh la la. There we go. Look at that. Man, all these beautiful new capacitors in here that take up so much less room. The orange one's a little different. It's pointed the other direction. So, when you solder it in, don't solder it in the same way as the other ones, or else you're going to have it blow up on you. These are big. This looks identical. Actually, they're just a little bit bigger than the original ones. God damn. Okay, well, regardless, we're using it. It's 500 microfarads, 35 volts that I got here. And what it's replacing is 500 microfarads, 25 volts. So we're 10 volts over, that's fine. Okay, so out comes the orange one. Oh. Good. Get those big leads done. Alright, and that's how you replace the capacitors in an Altair 8800. Taking this thing apart wasn't exactly fun, but it'll be easier to put back together because I took the bottom half off. Just I hope it'll be easier. And then I gotta figure out where the fucking wires go. that might be a challenge and a half.